All right, now you can do. Let's do the cold opener. So,
Okay.
all right, go ahead, Scott.
All right. Speaking of cold herbs, John and I are in the middle of a fucking blizzard right now.
Oh,
So
yeah.
in that vein, we get some news at the shop this week, which we found was so fascinating. We named a show after it.
Yeah.
We have a gentleman that John and I have seen in the comic shops we've gone to around town. He's a fascinating little character. He lives in one of the shops. And when we saw him, we were like, who is this? Who is this character? So we talked to the gentleman at our shop, and he gave us the rich history behind this character. And this character was affectionately called Nurgle. And Nurgle is from a video game, I believe. Am I wrong on that?
Nurgle.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe it was a role-playing game like Warhammer or something like that.
Yeah.
Is,
Anyway.
is that one of the Chaos Demons from Warhammer?
Yes, I believe he is. That sounds right.
Okay.
So he was named after a chaos demon, and aptly so. And so every time we were going to the shop, either we would notice that he was following us around the store, he'd follow other people around the store, and he was one of those sales reps that you just couldn't get out of your fucking hair, and God help you if you talked to him, because he would talk your fucking ear off.
Yeah.
So this gentleman, who had lived a very unassuming life up until this point, recently lost his job. He was a helper in the comic store, but how he lost it was fascinating.
Okay.
My understanding is that he was procuring books and perhaps just taking them home with him and selling them to another competitor here in town. And he got busted, and we're like, Nurgle had turned to a life of crime. And I knew myself, when this guy gets to prison, he's not going to have any problem, because they're going to be fucking terrified of saying 2 words to him, because he'll talk their fucking ears off right there in the cell.
Well,
So
probably not. Maybe have a cock in his mouth.
Yeah, that too. But his cellie's going to leave him alone, and they're going to be like, don't fuck with that guy. He'll talk your little fucking ears off. So, when we saw that, I walked out of the store with John. I said, the Termination of Nurgle. That's the name of the show. So it's a shame. What he was doing is, I guess they were selling comics by the box, the issues that they can't give away, to another competitor. Except this guy was sliding in some extra issues of rare comics into the box and getting it out of the store.
Yeah.
And so
smuggling them out.
And he got caught with his pants down, which is horrifying to think about.
And this guy was just, you give you like one of these, he's a little bit slow guys, in a way, because he's definition of a comic nerd lives in a basement. That's
unaware.
Yeah,
I would say unaware.
That's
unaware.
Unaware of sort of things. He just has his blinders on about what he's doing. And it's just it just surprised me very much that he did something like that.
Turned to a life of crime.
Yeah. Wow. Nerdle the turtle.
Well, it's not going to be the last time he gets caught with his trousers down if he's going to prison.
No. Well, right now I don't know what'll happen, but
he wouldn't give the key back to the store.
They fired him when they said they wanted the key, and I mean they're gonna be changing the locks anyhow. But still,
it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, but no, I'm not giving the key back. We caught you stealing. You're fired. No.
Yeah.
That's how he's.
But if he's willing to do that, what's to stop him from coming in with a mask on? Well, everyone would know who he was just by the way the fucker moved. But
yeah, I know.
Still, it's he can put as many masks on as he wants. Oh, look, it's Nurgle. Definitely Nurgle.
Yeah.
So
we bugged Lee. It says, see, he had somebody in there helping bag and board and stuff. Oh, look, you can hire him to help you bag and board comics. No,
that guy was special. That's another guy who was pretty special. I was thinking he did clean up in the last couple of weeks, but he's not there anymore. Oh,
that guy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I thought we were still talking about Nerdle, but no. Yeah, he disappeared. He was another guy that
Lee takes in the strays.
Yeah.
He takes in the strays. He does at that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, he spent enough time around comic book stores. There's no shortage of Nurgles.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, but he took in Lyric, but she was good. Lyric was good. It was this young girl that collected, and she
Yep.
helped him, and he was really good until she got a real job. She said to him,
Really,
Yep.
yeah.
but she was a nice kid. So, but
It was actually, speaking of the comic shop, just when I was in there the last 2 weeks, I've seen more women in the comic shops. Like we had at one point in time, and Tristan was in there with me.
oh yeah,
And at one point in time, there were 7 people in the comic shop, and 4 of them were women.
yeah,
And I said, "You get the fuck out of here!" And no, I said, but there were 4 women, and I was thinking to myself, Tristan and I were talking about. We were like, I don't think we've ever had more women in the comic shop than men at one point in time.
mm-hmm.
And we immediately became terrified and just
Yeah.
huddled there in the corner by ourselves.
Well,
Oh,
But it
yeah,
was interesting. It was interesting. I said,
Yeah.
I said to myself, it's happening. You know,
Oh,
it's
well,
happening.
well,
Wow.
as long as Tristan doesn't say anything stupid like he did the last time, and there was a woman
He
there.
said that. He brought it up. He said,
he?
I remember. I said I was in there years ago, and I guess there was a beautiful woman
Yeah.
in there. And he said something to the effect, you know, if you had more women that look like that in here more often, I'd probably come in more. She heard him.
Yeah, and he thought he was whispering. He's one of these loud whisperers, you know.
Yeah,
And I just,
yeah.
and Lee and I just kind of, what, what?
Yeah.
And then she never came back, or she
I was
never
gonna
came
say,
back
yeah.
at that time. She came
Yeah.
back at different times, and I brought it up to him a couple of times. Shut up! Don't shut up! Yeah,
Yeah, she was never
Well,
seen again.
yeah.
At this particular moment, there were 4 women, and actually there was 8. There were 4 women, me, Tristan, and the Cantina boys.
Oh yeah.
And we were just like this. I was like, this is a Monty Python sketch just waiting to happen, because anyway, it was interesting. It was
Yeah.
We were just kind of looking around, taking it all in.
Well, now that you brought up the Cantina Boys, we talked about the Cantina Boys to you, Paul?
No.
Okay, the Cantina
Yes.
Boys, they're twins. And
Yep.
they're short, and their voices are very unique.
Yes.
Is this customers in the shop?
Yeah.
Yes.
Call them the
Is-
Cantina
right.
Boys.
Okay.
The Cantina
yeah.
boys.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
when-
this is-
if you
Never
listen
heard
to them talk, it
Yeah.
sounds like an alien language.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it sounds like the cantina off Star Wars where you had all that chatter.
yeah.
And every time Tristan and I are in each other, we don't even just say anything. But if they're in there and we lock eyes, we immediately start cracking up, and we try and, because Lee got pissed off at us
Yeah.
one time in there, and we didn't say anything. And
Yeah.
I'm like, we're not saying it. They don't know what we're chuckling about. Lee, calm down.
Yeah.
But every time Tristan and I were just look up at each other, and we're like,
Yeah. or one of us will start playing the music, you know.
yeah,
I mean,
cast
they're
of characters.
yeah. It's yeah.
Oh, you have to come to the shop someday. It'll be like going to Mecca.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to go to the
Well,
shop one day.
but-
I'd have to make a special trip just for that one purpose.
Yeah.
Just come and spend a few days there and just go to the shop on a Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesdays, you know, it's the big day because the new books are out and everything like that. And also, Lee has been noticing that the big thing would be 11 o'clock when you open up the doors first, big crowd coming in. But lately, there's been a big crowd. I mean, for the comic book shop, even in the evening, because it would be sometimes just me and Lee and Scott and Tristan, and sometimes this other guy Devin. But that'd be it. It'd be quiet. Now, no, there's
He's
old
put a
people.
lot of work into that shop. It looks great now. That shop really looks great now.
And you're talking about the women. I think if Tristan keeps his mouth shut, I think they go in there and they don't feel threatened.
No.
No, they don't feel
that's,
like
that's probably a big thing. Yeah.
yeah. We just, oh, hey, how you doing? You know, and I mean, we still have to watch what we talk about when we get in there, certain subjects, but usually most of us now are pretty respectful, just not to bring anything up other than, you know, normal shit. But it's
They
just,
brought a baby in there last week.
yeah, there's one girl that's
Baby
been
carriage.
yeah, there's one girl
Oh, wow.
that she would come, and I talked to her a few times, and her husband worked for the Canadian military, and he was away, but he's back now. But yeah, she would come in there, and I talked to her, and they had a little baby, so they still come in on Wednesday, come in with the baby carriage.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then Leo, I mean, he gets parents and a few bringing their kids in because they'll come in and they know, oh, it's Lee, and then he's got a thing of free suckers for the kids and the adults. But but
yeah, well, I'm not surprised he's getting more business. If he's tied the shop up and he's sort of like going that extra mile, then people will come.
He says they've been getting new file customers weekly. So.
And I remind him we used to do a podcast there, and that's where a lot of that comes from.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
We brought him in.
Definitely.
Must have been.
Yeah, that's the waves of listeners that we have. They're all coming to the shop.
Okay.
Retro.
Guys, I'm bringing the party to you.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
You big dummy. Oh, great Odin's Raven. Say hello to my little friend.
I stepped in a ditch last night, man. I almost froze my balls off, man.
You take drugs, Danny?
Every day. Good.
What's the problem?
Yeah, David.
Giggity, 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 giggity. Oh, we know what you fear well without.
I'm the doctor.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
This aggression will not stand, man.
Engage. Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Pulp Culture Cafe, Season 12, Episode 319. We already have the name of the show. We're going to call it, if you've listened to the first, you've heard it, Termination of Nerdurtle, and the backstory of that. So again, as usual, I'm joined with Tits McGee, Scott, and Paul. I was trying to figure something fancy for you, but nothing, just Paul.
There's nothing interesting about me whatsoever.
Okay, all right.
I signed up to that Blue Sky Social.
I appreciate you guys doing it. Thank you.
Yeah, I was fanning about with the profile editor, trying to think of something cool or funny to put as my name.
Yeah,
I just went with Paul.
Yeah,
I just went with Paul.
Yeah. Well, I put this is the first time I've actually put except on my Facebook, I actually put who I am. That's me and my name, right? But
I was looking for some flair to it, so I just added a Z to my name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you have it would have been very interesting if you put it in there and someone already took it before you had a chance.
That would have been great.
Yeah. No, there is. But so we're gonna start off with what we watch. Now, like I said earlier, anything time sensitive that we want to talk about first. But I was trying to, for a bit, I was trying to figure out what I watch because I have the TV on, but I don't really pay attention to it. So the only thing I'm going to talk about, and right now the start of one of the things I talked about was Arcane, League of Legends. Is it on Netflix? That show is fantastic. I so much enjoy it. The animation style, the voice acting, is just out of this world. They blend so many different animation styles into it, and the voice actors are so good. Haley Seinfeld, and
what's it called? From Marvel. Hawkeye.
Yeah,
Hawkeye. Bumblebee too.
I thought I wrote down her name, but the young woman who plays in Fallout, the series, the lead.
Oh yeah.
She does
Ella, something or other.
Yeah, sorry, I should have wrote that down. But anyways,
Ella Purnell, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
just came to them. Yeah.
And I watched a video of her talking about it, and I'm thinking, she's doing that voice of that character. It's so different, but the emotion, the range, it is so good. I can't it's almost like this actual animated character is real because of the voice acting. It's all mixed so well together. She does a fantastic job in it. And it took me a little bit at the start to get warm into it, but gradually as I watched this, like I watched 2 episodes and set it aside a long time ago. But I figured, oh, I better catch up what's going on. But man, I got hooked into it. And actually, the final season is supposed to drop today of it, and I'm gonna watch it. I read that it was supposed to be like 5 series, but it's cost them like major bucks to do this, the animation style, and it takes a while for them to do. So I'm sure that'll be wrapped up quickly. Some people won't like it, but when you're, getting that many season animated show over expensive out of Netflix is like you're lucky now, because I mean everything's like 1 season and they cancel the Netflix, right?
Yeah.
So I'm watching that. I highly recommend it. The other one I'm doing is like the Dr. Who shows in the background, catching up with Bob's Burgers.
Oh, I've been catching up with Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get home from work and I'm doing some stuff around the computer, whatever. I'll slip it on and watch it. It's not as, unless it gets better. I find it entertaining, but I don't really find it super funny.
No, I'm in pretty much the same boat. It's if there was a league table for my favourite animation, then it'd be sort of way below Simpsons, Family Guy, Futurama, American Dad. It'd be sort of like that. But it's good. It is good. But I quite often watch it in the background. I'm just going to see where I'm up to. I am up to season 11, episode 1. That's going to be the next one I start watching.
I think season 10. Yeah, I stopped a while ago, and like I said, I just, like I'm you, Paul, I put it in the background, and if that's interesting, I'll watch a little bit. If not, don't worry about it.
Yeah, if I've got something better to watch, then I'll watch that instead. Bob's Builders. There's Bob the Builder, the kids show.
Bob the Builder,
but had season 11.
But Bob's Burgers is just like Old Faithful. It's always there. It's always there in the background if I need something to watch. If I've got 10, 15, 20 minutes to kill, I can put like half an episode on and watch a whole episode, whatever. I enjoy it, but I don't drop everything and watch it above anything else. It's good enough.
And I have a few, but I'll just do a couple more and we'll move on. But I watched an old Charlie Chan mystery on YouTube.
Oh, really?
I love watching those old mystery Charlie Chan and other ones on, even Sherlock Holmes. I just enjoy those so much. It was just very basic, simple. You to see the detective work they're doing, and it's I gotta make it better at this, but he didn't have his son in it, his number one son, which I miss because he brings a little bit of levity to it, right? They did have the English butler that was scared of everything, and there was a old seance involved, and the son had come back after 7 years of being away, and there was a will or something coming on, and they were scared he's going to come in, and because the family believed in seances, and they were giving this couple money for research and stuff like that, and he knew it was bullshit, but he couldn't get the family involved, and they were afraid once he came back they would take the money and they wouldn't get any more. So it's just a fun watch. I mean, it's the same thing, Paul. If you got nothing on and you just want something in the background, find an old Charlie Chan movie, and you see the white Chinese guy.
They took some liberties back in the day.
Oh yeah, just a few, just a little bit. Wow. They couldn't have they couldn't have the lead as a Chinese guys, but number one son could be. So
that's what they used to call outrageous racism in those days, taking liberties.
Taking liberties.
The old stuff. It's you mentioned Sherlock Holmes. I used to love the old black and white Sherlock Holmes shows. With Basil Rathbone.
Yes,
love Basil Rathbone as Sherlock Holmes. That's an absolute favourite Sherlock Holmes. including Robert Downey Jr. and Benedict Cumberbatch.
Same here.
Basil Rathbone is fantastic.
Yes,
I love Basil Rathbone.
Yeah, I love those. If you said, okay, we're gonna have, you got these 3 to pick through, or these 2 to pick from, who are you gonna pick? So Rathbone, I'll take him. Yeah. I'll watch him. Yeah. So it's just the way it was. And then I'll save these in case we put these in everything. Is the last one is that I'm just playing a lot of Fallout 76. I mean, okay. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I mean, we can, if there's a game section in the episode or the next one, we can talk. But yeah, I'm finding more playing in 76. I don't like some of the way it's done, but it's just I can burn 2 hours and be entertained and feel like I'm doing something other than just sitting there with my hand down my patch, like my parents, like Al Bundy watching TV, right? So
yeah, no, it's the type of game that I switch on quite often just to spend an hour or two with, because just wandering about, collecting things, crafting things, shooting a few people, it's an ideal way to spend an afternoon.
Yeah. So I got to get more into game stuff, but maybe we'll talk about that later and if something. But the game system itself, there's stuff to do. Okay, we're gonna move on to Paul. What have you been watching lately?
Well, it's funny you should mention watching old TV shows, because I've been watching quite a lot of The Twilight Zone just recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like the original, yeah.
Yes,
I started watching season 1, and I'm all the way up to season 3 now. I'm about, I think, 12 episodes into season 3. And it is not as good as I thought.
Oh, no?
Not as good as I remembered it.
Oh.
Bear in mind, I must have seen somewhere in the region of about 70 or 80 episodes at this point. And if I'm being generous, there's probably about a quarter of them are pretty good. There's probably a small number of them, which you can probably count on one hand, are very good.
Yeah.
Very good. But yeah, I think only about a quarter of them are actually good. The rest of them, it's sort of like, this is bullshit. I've been watching a couple I mean, they churn these out at a rate of us. You know, it's like 30 odd episodes per season. So I'm into season 3 now, and there's a couple that have been really tedious.
Yeah.
I just sat there like, oh my god, this is absolute shit.
Okay.
And then he took a good one in. It's like, oh my god. But what part of the reason why I wanted to watch them was just for sort of nostalgia and also pop culture reasons, because they've had such an effect on pop culture, you know, like the ripples through time, the scene in pop culture today, you know, and it's like just the little references. I mean, The Simpsons is absolutely rife with Twilight sort of references.
Yeah.
Certainly some of the older Simpsons episodes anyway. So it's quite interesting to sort of like be there at ground zero. It's like, holy shit, that's where that came from. Or, oh my God, so that's what that reference is for. So I've quite enjoyed it in that respect. But it's if you say that you love the Twilight Zone, you are wearing some really thick rose-tinted glasses, I think. But like I say, aside from a small number of them, which are actually genuinely very, very good.
Yeah. Well, my glasses are thick and rosy. I just love the series. And you're right. I agree. I totally agree with you, though. You know, like any TV show, when you got 30 episodes, you're going to get some stinkers, right? You're going to get some crapper ones. You're going to get some good ones, and then you're going to get excellent ones. So I'm not disagreeing with you at all. Yeah. But I do look through the rosy red glasses at it. So.
To be fair, if anyone were to say to me, "Oh, do you like the Twilight Zone?" I'll say, "Yeah, I love it. It's great."
Yeah.
But but the reality is, I only actually love a small percentage of it. Yeah. I just kind of like most of it.
Yeah.
And sort of, yes, I've seen the rest.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, it's groundbreaking TV show.
Yeah.
It's what's not to like.
You know what? You haven't said anything that I don't agree with. Totally agree with you and everything. So anything else?
I don't know how much detail you want us to go in.
Well, I quickly threw a few, and then you do it quickly, and then Scott, then we'll get on with on the show. And
right. Okay. So we finished? Did we finish watching The Penguin before we recorded last time, or was the final episode?
I never watched it at all. So
it was really good.
Yeah,
it was very good.
Yeah, this is we don't have to tell you that we all watched. This is just what stuff you watched and stuff.
Yeah, okay. It was very good. Really enjoyed that. I've been watching Slow Horses season 4 on Apple TV. I probably mentioned it quite a while ago, probably earlier this year, probably. Season 4 came out probably about a month, 2 months ago. I've watched the all 6 episodes now. Really good. Very quick recap. It's a show based on a series of books that are based on a dropouts of MI5. So basically, if you fuck up or if you shit, then you get booted out of Spy Headquarters MI5 and you get put into this building, so it's like in the shithole area of London, called Slough House. And the show's called Slow Horses because it's all the dropouts that are all based in there. And the guy who's in charge is Gary Oldman, and he's this really sort of like dirty, sweaty, scummy piece of shit type of boss. But he's got like 40, 50 years experience as a spy. So he's actually shit out at everything. But he's at the stage of his career where he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't like anyone. But if pushed into it, super competent.
Yeah.
And we're in the 4th season, and there's usually some sort of national threat that they end up resolving. They end up solving it, and they end up being the heroes out of it, as you would expect.
Yeah.
But it's just like the group dynamic, because they're in Slough House for a reason, because they are fuck-ups. But they kind of come together and sort of like win the day at the end. It's very good. It is very good. Gary Oldman's absolutely excellent in it. If anyone's got access to Apple TV or can watch it in any other capacity, then I would highly recommend Slow Horses. It's very good. Aside from that, Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai came back. They dropped another 5 episodes, I think it was. I just smashed straight through all of those. I sat down to watch it. I have been guilty of just kind of watching Cobra Kai in the background for certain seasons or certain episodes, but it's the final season. It's like a big event, and I thought, I'm going to give this my attention. I'm really enjoying it. There's a couple of moments, there's a couple of episodes where you think, this is really cheesy. This is the type of thing that you see in daytime soaps, because budget or just some of the actors have probably reached their absolute limit of their ability and they've just pushed that a little bit too far. But the whole show, the premise, the whole show, I've really enjoyed. It's just a massive, talking about nostalgia and rose-tinted glasses, massive smack of nostalgia. I just enjoy the characters. I enjoy the dynamic between Johnny and Daniel, but it does get a bit tiresome when they just keep reverting back to the, like, you're a dick and you're, it's played out. It's like, come on, we should be evolving and moving these characters a little bit further forward now. At this point in the 5th season, let's face some new issues or some new problems. But aside from that, ended on a bit of a cliffhanger. I think there's going to be another 5 episodes in the new year just to finish off the whole thing. Looking forward to it. I've really been enjoying that as well. Oh, and finally, I started watching Lower Decks, which is showing on Paramount Plus. The first 6 episodes of the final season are available now. There's usually about 10 episodes per season. I believe it's been cancelled, so this is the final season. I'm really enjoying it. I generally do really enjoy Lower Decks. I've always enjoyed it. I think it's very good. And
what is that about?
Exception.
I've passed it a lot of times, just never dropped onto it.
It's a Star Trek animated show, and it's about the ensigns.
Oh, I was thinking of something else then.
Oh no, it's the one with the it's the one with the sort of like the ensigns sort of who.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Then I know.
Don't. The ones who don't appear on the Star Trek TV shows, the ones who just make the ship run, just do like the menial stuff, or aren't really good enough to sort of like go on away missions with the captain, that sort of thing.
Have you found this with the? I read stuff saying that they do a lot more of bringing in little stuff from the old shows and stuff like that, like little what is it, drops.
I think it's definitely for Star Trek fans.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely for Star Trek fans. I think every now and again they'll just chuck in like a random reference or a name or a planet or something
or
like that.
Or a person.
Yeah, I think if you're a hardcore Star Trek fan, then you'll recognise some of the things in there and be like, oh shit. I remember when that happened.
Well, the last thing I read, didn't do a deep dive read into it, was that the actress that played the Klingon in the Discovery, the turtle Klingons, they brought her back in one of the episodes, but looking like a regular Klingon.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, yeah, it was funny. Now I brought it up. They've sort of like don't even bring it up anymore. It's
right.
Like,
no, I did.
The turtle Klingons have disappeared. We don't know where they went to. They got sucked to a black hole or something. But anyways.
Yeah, they went back to the home planet.
Yeah. But Scott, how about you? What have you been watching?
Before I start, quick comment on Cobra Kai. If any writer or director is out there and they're saying that whole series has been a blueprint of how to properly flesh out property, it really has been. I mean, there's plenty of respect. Yeah, there's plenty of good properties out there. It's just how you flesh them out and do it the right way. Start small, like they did. Start on YouTube, build a brand, and that kudos to that. Whoever's running that, I don't know. I don't know whether it's William Zabka. Is that his name? William Zabka?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's them or someone else, but if that someone else is going to do something else, I'd be looking forward to it, because he knows, this person or this company knows how to build a brand where there's nothing there really, and they turned it into this international phenomenon. So kudos to him for that. Actually, when you had said that there's another 5 issues, there's also a movie that's coming out next summer.
Yeah, with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan, yeah. And that to me is going to be, I hope, a wake-up call for people, because, and I mentioned this on a few different things, is it's okay to have a TV show that's really fucking good and follow it up with a movie, because you've got to build an audience of 4 to 6 million people. That's a decent box office. And if you give it enough time, people will watch the show before the movie comes out. So I hope it's a success on that alone.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'll probably go to see the movie, but I can guarantee you that I wouldn't have done if there hadn't been a TV show. If it just came out of the blue, if they just tried to reboot it by chucking a movie out, nobody would be interested. But just based upon the strength of the TV show, I'll go and watch that, because I'm expecting it to continue the story that we've got in the TV show. You can't not do, surely. It'd be a massive, massive mistake if they don't. And if you just sort of reboot it all, a massive mistake.
It'll have a huge China box office too, which is going to be important. They're very smart with that. So what I've been watching is, have you folks heard of a movie called The Wild Robot?
I've heard of it.
I've seen it plastered all over. Yeah, I've seen it advertised quite a lot.
What I did was I saw the trailer, and I'm thinking, this is one of the best trailers I've seen for an animated movie in a long time. So I watched it. I showed it to Susan, and her eyes lit up, and I'm thinking, bingo. And the grandchildren loved it. But it was original, which is rare today with all the remakes and shit that we're having done in the animated series. Subtle messaging about technology and AI, and how Siri and all that stuff, how it's going to affect us negatively. Great cast. Bill Nye, remember the guy from Underworld? Bill Nye, he was in it. Mark Hamill was in it. Catherine O'Hara, Pedro Pascal. What? Okay.
Oh, right, keep going. It's just us.
Laputa. Oh, jeez, I'm going to butcher her name. Laputa Nyong'o. You know what I'm speaking about?
Oh, yes. I do. Yeah, what was she in? She was in what are those?
Black Panther. Black Panther comes to mind.
Yeah. I actually had in mind one of those horror films. What was it in? Them or something?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
I know exactly who you mean. Yeah.
But she was in that, and it was a well-written story.
Yeah.
It was paced well. The acting was great. The voice acting was great, and as I said, it was incredibly original. Look, if you're even as it's good for adults, and my grandkids loved it when they saw it. So that's a good combination when you're, when whoever's going to the theater. It's done very well at the box office, and I hope they have more of that, because the redoing of cartoons that they're doing, right now they're working on Momoa. They're doing a live action Momoa, and they're doing a live action How to Train Your Dragon, and it's too soon. And a lot of people already are saying, "Oh God, there's a magic to animation that's not there with any other really
live action."
Live action. There's a sense of wonderment there that kids should be able to have, and just do that so quickly, I think it's a mistake. But we'll see how the box office. But the reactions I've heard so far is, don't do this. Make more movies like this. Wild Robot is a really good animated movie, and I enjoyed it from. Susan's watched it twice now, and I enjoyed it from the opening thing. Yeah, it's really good. It's really well written.
No one Hollywood doesn't want to take any chances anymore.
No, and I don't know how. Well, I said to Susan, I said, "How did this get through?" There was no messaging. It was just a well-written story. It was bizarre. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was during the pandemic, and they were thinking, "Okay, we're all going to die tomorrow, so let's just get this out here."
Maybe.
I've also been watching on Paramount Special Ops-Lioness, and this cast, like, if this is a movie cast. Zoe Saldana, of course, from Guardians of the Galaxy, a few other things. Nicole Kidman, Morgan Freeman, a guy named Dave Annabelle, which I have a huge respect now for an actor. I had never seen the guy before this show, and he just knocks it out of the park in every scene he's in. Also, a guy named Michael Kelly. I've mentioned, but you and I, Paul, I think I talked about it. He was in Jack Ryan. He was the guy with the glasses, the director. Yes.
Yeah.
He's in it.
Yeah.
One thing I like about
the guy with the balding head, and he's he's in everything. Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah. When I see character actors like that, I think to myself, okay, he read this script and he saw something there. But I like Taylor Sheridan because he's created this universe, and if he likes an actor, he works with them, and it's almost like James Gunn and the Guardians of the Galaxy cast, where they're like, I like this guy, I've worked with this guy, there's a comfort level there, and it's always really good. And I found with this series also, Scott, I've mentioned Dave Annabella, a gentleman by the name of Neil. He's Zoe Saldana's husband in the series. Fucking phenomenal actor. I had never seen him before this series. It's they have something very unique in this series. They have a marriage that works. And it works, even though it's weird. Like I mentioned, Sue and I talked about this when we were watching the show. We were saying to ourselves, one person, her husband is a surgeon, she is a special agent. They should be at each other's throats. And we brought up New Amsterdam. We get tired of it because every episode it seemed that they were going through some kind of marital strife and in each other's throats. And these guys just make it work. It's a successful marriage under very rough conditions, and it's unique because most times it's a shit show when there's a marriage in any series. But I mean that's one of the good things about it, and that's the reason I like Tyler Sheridan's universe. You see stuff that should be a norm, but it's just not in a lot of other stuff I see out there today. But Morgan Freeman's in this. He hasn't been in the episodes. I'm up to episode 6 now, but the writing is fantastic. The storytelling is fantastic. There's I think her name's Kelly, but she reminds me of, remember an Alien, that badass Marine who today, you know what I'm talking about with the gun? She's in that vein, except she's more fleshed out. And it's a really great character. She's a lesbian, but they don't dwell on it. She's just a lesbian who happens to be in this task force. She doesn't take shit off the guys, just a lot like Alien. She's based on the Alien character, but she's a lot more fleshed out. And I've seen a few of the people that he has worked with before. Did either of you see 1883? I think you did, didn't you, Paul?
I sure haven't.
Which one's 1883?
It's the one where Tim McGraw was in. Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, and what's the cowboy?
No, I don't think
Anyway,
that was me. No, sorry.
Okay, this character was in this show, but she had a bit part. And this
not the actor, the character.
Yeah, the actor. The actress had a bit part in the show, but now she's got a starring role. And he's almost creating his own little Hollywood where he'll have actors in his show in a bit part, and if they do well, they get expanded roles in his next series, which is kind of like what Hollywood's been working like for years. And that's what I like about that, because you're getting to the point now where you're seeing these actors grow in these roles, and when they show up in new roles, there's another guy that was also in 1883, and he's in this. Phenomenally playing two totally different characters.
Okay.
So
it froze up for a sec. No big deal.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say everyone got quiet and didn't move very far, and I'm thinking, are they not moving or? So recommend it if you're looking for something different. It's definitely different. Stellar cast, great writing. I had one problem with it, and that's what I've had with a lot of it. There's a scene where they're going through Navy SEAL training, and the main character goes in, and she's in, I don't want to be in this lineup. I want to be in the men's lineup. And she goes in, she breaks the record. She does 23 pull-ups with chicken arms. She's got chicken arms. She weighs 95 pounds. She's got chicken arms. She broke the barracks record. I'm like, fuck off. Stop that. Tell them to go to a gym before they start this shit. But other than that, it's a really good series.
I've been curious about that. I've heard one or two people say it's good. I think I think Kevin Smith spoke about it on a Black Man, not Black Man show.
Did he?
Fat Man. Yeah. I think he's spoken about it before. It's either him or Mark Bernardin were talking about it. He said it was very good. Yeah. So it's on the radar.
Yeah, it's very good. I watched the first couple episodes of Yellowstone without Kevin Costner. Right. And the day it came out, he put out a statement saying that it wasn't his choice to leave the series.
Oh.
And I remember thinking to myself, what the fuck did they do to him in the series to write him out of the series? And his end was pretty definitive. You can tell that there's bad blood between directors or creators and actors when they make sure to say, this fucker's never coming back. And that's kind of what they did with it. That's what they did with it. He's a focal point of this new season, but they did him in pretty good. There's no no coming back from that. No mysterious plane crash or anything like that. They put a bullet in him.
If you can keep Kevin Costner off a TV show, wow.
Well, I mean, it was a shame because it was just basically a scheduling thing. Kevin Costner wanted to do Horizon, that movie trilogy he's working on, and Tyler Sheridan has about 6 shows juggling them. And he's doing very well because I watched many of them and they're all very good. But he's got his own schedule, and it was literally a scheduling conflict. It was nothing other than that, which is a real shame. This is one of those times you're sitting there. There's no bad guys. It's just a lot of talent that's only got so many rooms that they can be in at once. So, but Kelly, go ahead.
No. I just want to make sure you guys remember we have to keep some for the other show.
Okay, I've got to tell him, but go ahead.
So no, I just remember we could get, because we're so used to just doing this, right? Get some blathering on. Okay. So we're gonna break it up. But anyways, so we got to what we've been watching. We'll save the rest for the next show or whatever. Yeah. And so we can go on to I really don't know. What do you want to just regular jabbing about stuff we've read, other stuff that we've
I've got comics, podcasts, and news.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go?
What about you, Paul?
Well, I'm holding back some TV and a couple of movies for next time. I've got 2 books that I've read, so I can do one this time or one next time, or I can do them both now. Either way.
Okay, well, I've got 1 comic and 4 books. Actual books. So.
Oh, no, mine are comic books.
Nerd.
Yeah. Nerd. Yeah, no, I've been very much into reading the last little bit.
Cool.
So, but okay, well, let's just do. I'll do my I'll do the one comic book, and I'll do one of mine, the books I read. Yep. So, and actually, I'm going to start with one, and keep it on the vein that you've been talking about, the stuff that. Let's see if it. Did you just shit?
I just stretched.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm going to
came
edit
at the same time.
That I won't edit out. Some of it will keep in. Some will edit out. So now we're going to talk about stuff that we've read in comic books or books and stuff like that. So we were just talking about the cowboy shows and shit.
Yeah.
Right. So I've actually not so much gotten into the TV series of stuff, but actually reading novels, Western novels.
Westerns. Okay.
Yeah. And what I like about them, they're a comfort read. There's no fancy words. There's no made up names. There's no made up planets. There's nothing like that. It's down to earth, country Western books, like a movie. So, the hardest time is coming in with the Indian names. But other than that, that's it. So there's a series of books. They're called Luke Jensen, Bounty Hunter, and they're written by W.J. Johnson and J.A. Johnson. I believe they're father and son. W.W.A. Johnson. Holy fuck. William W. Johnson. There we
Easy
go.
for you to say.
I know. He's very prolific writer. He's got like a shitload of books, Westerns. Yeah. And some are single books, and some are a series. And this is a series of books that I've been running around catching up because I read the one, and this one here, and I wanted to catch up with the rest of them. So the one I did read is called Shoot to Kill or Die Trying. I'll just read you what's going on. It's Luke Jensen brings the body of Rio Rojo after all his job he's doing to get paid. He's doing it to get paid, right? Bounty hunter. But before he can collect the bounty for killing a killer, two notorious criminals hit the Rojo bank. Now Luke can't get paid unless he catches the professional bandit Gunnar Kelly and his Apache sidekick, Dog Eater. Now how more could Unfortunately, a would-be manhunter is after the money-telling outlaws too, and a young Hobie McCoughlin, is mostly a menace to himself. So basically, what he gets the bounty, he goes into town. These two guys come out and rob the bank. Well, they say, okay, well, you know what? If you go and get this guy, we'll pay you the bounty that is the original bounty we're going to give you for the guy he brought in, and then we'll double that on top of it if you bring these two guys back. Well, he's in a small town, and there's this young kid called Hobie, and he wants to be a bounty hunter, and he starts trailing along with them. So one of the things I like about the book is that if you're reading, in my experience, when you're reading like a Star Trek or any other book, there's not too many deviations off the main story. If you're watching a TV show, you have your A adventure, then you have your B story, and maybe sometimes a C. Yeah. Well, within this book, there's the same thing. As he's going out to find these guys, he comes across a wagon, trail wagon, being shot by a bunch of people. A stagecoach, there's the word I'm looking for. And in the stagecoach, there's a young woman. Well, she's leaving. I can't remember. It doesn't say, but leaving an area where this old guy is going to force her to be her bride. She doesn't want to be, doesn't love him. Well, he sends out a bounty hunters or just hired killers to find her, to bring her back. And then he gets side trail into helping them because he has that sense of duty. He's a Confederate officer who lost the war, so now he does bounties for a living. And then he runs into Mexican soldiers who have decided, we don't want to be Mexican soldiers anymore. We're going to become desperados. So he runs into a town where these guys are at, and he has to get rid of these guys so he just get out of town because they won't let him stay. They won't let him go unless he does they do something or they're going to kill him. So he gets rid of these guys. Then he finds the stagecoach, and then he has to stop then. And then during that time, he ends up finding out that the his trail gets him along to who he's after to get his bounty. Then he also finds out that the dog eater is actually an educated Indian. He was a half-breed, and he went to school. So he's the one running this great big operation that's behind this other shit. So
twist.
Yeah, I just enjoyed it. It was a nice, quiet, good read. And I don't know about you guys, if you start reading books especially, your speed increases. That you're able to go through the pages faster because your mindset on reading these words. So sometimes you can even just skip a word, but you know the word, it's in your head already.
How many pages was it?
Oh, it's got to be 300.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But a whole line. I really enjoy it. I picked up the rest of this. I'm finding the rest of this series. I'm just missing 2 books. So yeah, it's just it's just fun. I mean,
how old is the sorry? How old is this book series? Is this books that are being written sort of today, or is this like a really old series that you've?
No, I think this one's from 2013.
Oh yeah, I mean not bad. Yeah.
And then he wrote another book called Fort Misery, which was written just a couple of years ago, and now I'm waiting for part 2 of it because it's a series too.
Okay.
So some of these books are older, but a lot of them are newer. He's got all kinds of ones, all the different stories of different characters he's come up with. Like there's one called the Jensen Brother, one Fire Stick. These are again a series of books that he writes, him and his son. So, and the other thing is a comic book. I'll bring that up. I read a lot. I've been going through my books, but I'm gonna have to start talking about just issues other than number ones, because number ones are coming far and few between for me because they're just too expensive. It's Image Ghost Machines. They're good because they're still at $3.99.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And this one's a new one, the Rocketfellers. It's part of the Ghost Machine series, which has Geiger, Robot Joe, is it? Red Coat. There's other ones coming out. And so I did like the story. The art's fantastic. P.J. Tomancy?
I believe
there may be a misunderstanding. There is no widely recognized author named P.J. Thomason who has written a story titled...
What the hell?
However, there is a well-known science fiction novel titled The Ark by Patrick S.
I never asked you shit. Shut up.
Patrick S. Tomlinson.
Yeah.
This novel is
set in the future
FBI. When let's start strangling you.
Okay, stop.
Spaceship. The story follows Brian Benson.
Jesus Christ. So
you never
bring
take
me
me
as a fourth
anywhere.
co-host.
Yeah.
You never take me anywhere.
Never
Why
take
are
me
we
anywhere.
always arguing?
Fucking bitch. And it's a guy. Give me a woman's voice. Francis Manapul and Rob Lee. So those are the creators of the books. Now, when Ghost Machine was coming out, they did a couple of books, and then they did another series where they kind of introduced everybody to you. But if you're just picking up this book off the shelf with any backstory, you might not want to continue because there's nothing in there to give you an idea what's happening.
Oh, Jesus. That's not good.
That's not if it's number one.
So all you got is this group of people running away from somebody after them, ending up traveling back in time to our time. And the only hint you get is they got a floating eyeball in a jar.
Okay, I think I read a preview of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only reason I'm interested is because I read the backstory, kind of, the family and stuff like that. Maybe got an idea. But really, I think it's a really poor number one because it gives you nothing really to catch. I mean, if you're really going to get catched on a floating eyeball, then, okay, well, that must just be your kick. But there's no like I've got to give it. The grandma she sacrifices herself to save the family because of this robot type creature after them. And like I said, the art is really good. It's not a heavy read, so it's not one like Scott would like because it's not a lot of reading in it. A lot of art, very few lines in it. So, if you're interested in Scott, I would recommend you wait till the holiday sale. Issue number 1 will probably be at the 50-cent offer.
It's amazing. That's so stereotypical of Image, especially from the 1990s when you have those big splash pages and like 15 or 20 words on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's very stereotypical of Image.
Yeah. So I'm going to pick up, I think I have it down. I'll give it some try. I do like this group of books, Ghost Machine. I really like Geiger. I really like Robot Joe, Red Coat. I've really enjoyed those books. Even Hyde. Hyde is a science fiction, a horror. I think I talked about this. It's Hyde. It's kind of like an evil Twilight Zone, in a way. All right. There's people try collecting souls, so they can get out of hell or whatever. I'll have to maybe do a better research and talk more about. But yeah, like I don't want people not to get it because it is one of them. You look at some of the stuff coming from Marvel and DC, especially art-wise, it's like shit, really low end. Where these guys seem to be getting good artists, but he's just not to work on a story for Rockefeller. So, that's about all I can say, really. Work on the story, give more backstory. Do like they used to do in, like Stan Lee used to say, think of it as everybody's just picked up that book is the first time they've ever read that book, and give them an idea what's going on. They don't give you an idea what's going on here.
Especially in a #1 issue.
Yeah.
You've got to let people know what's going on. It's probably going to be very good, but it's only going to be enjoyed by people who actually know the history, who know the backstory.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be people who like take a quick glance through the pages or pick up the first issue and just tap out because there's no idea who these guys are or what's going on.
Yeah, there's going to be comic book collectors and readers like us, but there's not everybody has the background. Like I got into trying to follow this because I like the whole group of things, right? There's still going to be guys that never followed it. They just picked up the book on the stand and figured what it was. So, I think that's the big fault. I think a lot of comic books, they have to start going back to that old, give you an idea what's going on. Some of them do. I have to admit this. So you open up the splash page, the first page, they'll tell you what's going on. They'll catch you up to what's going on. It'll be 2 or 3, 2 paragraphs or whatever. At least let you know what's going on. Now, if you know the story, you'll just pass that because you've been reading the book. You know what's going on. But if your first time, that's so helpful. It gives you something to let them know what's going on.
Yeah. Just give the new readers a page, page, a bit of dialogue, something. Just let them know what's happening. Yeah. Should be a no-brainer.
Yeah. All right. So that's mine too. How about you, Paul? What do you got? You said you got one you want to bring up?
Yeah. So if you remember last time we spoke, I'd picked up 3 books from 2000 AD. I'd read Rogue Trooper the last time. Well, this time I've got the 13th Floor, The Return of Max to speak about. And I spoke about it briefly last time. This is from a comic called Scream, which came out in the 80s. And it's about a futuristic, or in those days, it's a futuristic tower block that had like an AI supercomputer that was handling all the day-to-day management of the office block, taking care of the building, taking care of the residents, that sort of thing. And this AI supercomputer developed. It became self-aware, basically, a little bit of Skynet, and it was a little overprotective of the residents. So if anyone got burgled or ripped off, or they got mugged, or it got to a point where it could be any slight. It could be someone who hadn't cleaned the windows properly or something like that. The supercomputer would wait until they went into one of the elevators in the building, trap them in there, and then take them to an imaginary 13th floor, because there was no 13th floor in the building when it was made. The construction company were superstitious. It went from 12 to 14. But this computer had its own sort of holodeck type 13th floor, and it would spit you out on the 13th floor, and it would create all manner of scary environments or images, just to basically literally scare the shit out of these people, or even scare them to death in some cases. And it was a really interesting story. It was a really interesting comic strip, because it was sort of like a villain of the week type story. So there was always something different. There's always like new cast of characters, new situation, new sort of resolution. But towards the back end, there was like an ongoing story where the missing people were being sort of, someone was realizing something was up, and they were being investigated, and Max the computer sort of like brainwashed one of the residents into helping them do the legwork, disposing of bodies and that sort of thing. And it all started falling down when the police started getting involved. Anyway, on to the return of Max. So now it's present day. So the building was condemned, it was shut down, it was bought on the cheap. The new owners did a minimal amount of work and used it as cheap housing. So there's a lot of people have moved in, but it's very derelict now. But Max just comes back online. Not quite right, sort of, but some short circuit somewhere brought him back online, and we start moving towards business as usual. So the story, the return of Max, is about Max, the computer, getting used to the present day, because the last time I saw him was back in the 80s, and there was no internet, there were no mobile phones, nothing like that. So Max is sort of getting his head around how things work now. But we slip back into the old ways, and again, he's sort of like getting people into his 13th floor and so on. But straight away, it starts with, rather than just a very simple story premise, like, here's a shitbag, here's them getting scared to death, happy day, see you next week. Now it starts straight away with he gets a lad to help him, a young boy to help him with, I say young boy, like 15, I think, something like that. This boy comes from like a broken home, he's been bullied. Turns out that because we are now in the 21st century, and everyone in the teens is an absolute shithouse, this lad, because he's sort of like come from a broken home, because he's spent all his life being bullied, because he lives in low cost housing, he's actually fully on board with violence and murder, as you would expect. So, and it's actually Max the computer who's like, hang on a minute, this isn't right. I'm not sure that all the people you're bringing into my 13th floor actually deserve to be here. So it's quite an interesting twist on the original formula, where Max was a psychopath, and now it's this 15-year-old boy who's the psychopath, and Max the computer is sort of like, I don't think this is right. I don't think what we're doing is right. So it turned it on its head a little bit. It was quite interesting. It's not the best story. It's not the best book I've ever read, but this episode seems to be all about nostalgia and rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah.
So I actually really enjoyed revisiting that world. It's not necessarily something that I'm not. So immediately after I finished it, I didn't think, oh man, I hope they continue this story because I'm going to keep reading it every week. That didn't really cross my mind. I just enjoyed my time with it. I enjoyed revisiting the character and that world. And I thought, yeah, it probably took me about an hour to read it, maybe just under. I thought, that was worthwhile. I'm glad I picked it up. I'm glad I read it. It was nice to sort of like retread some old ground. There was a little bit of a twist to it. Yeah, that's... if you're a fan of the original series, and I bet there's nobody listening to this show that has ever heard of it before now, but if you're a fan of the 13th Floor from the Scream comics back in the 80s, it's probably worth reading. Just revisit an old friend. Just spend a little bit of time with them, and then you think, yeah, I'm glad we're caught up, but there's a reason why we're not friends anymore. And then you move on with your life. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. It was worthwhile, I'm glad I picked it up. I'm glad I read it. It was nice to sort of like retread some old ground. There was a little bit of a twist to it. don't necessarily need to go back and revisit again. But thanks for the memories.
Okay. What was sorry, I missed the name of that again. Or was it looking over writing stuff down?
It's called. I'm not sure whether this will show up on the camera or not. It's not doing it.
13th Floor.
Blurry background on. It's the 13th Floor. This is actually the 13th Floor, Volume 4, The Return of Max. That's the particular one that I read.
Okay.
The first 3 volumes are, well, as you would
4.
expect. The one thing that is quite interesting that I will just chuck in, I almost forgot. So in this particular volume, every time you take somebody to the 13th floor, it's a new artist. It's a different artist every single time doing the artwork for the 13th floor. And that's new. That's quite interesting. I quite enjoyed that as well. So yeah, that was something different. But it was okay. But I think if you don't know anything at all about the character or the history of the story, you probably think, no, I'm not really into it.
Yeah.
But like I say, if you're a fan, you probably need to read it.
Yeah, I kind of, also again we were talking about Twilight Zone. I talked about that one thing, the Hyde book, Twilight Zone. This could also be like a Twilight Zone thing too, right?
Absolutely.
13th floor in every episode, you're taking it to a different floor, different story.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's right. That's exactly it. Well, that was sort of the idea behind it back in the 80s. It was literally that. It's sort of like, what's going to be on the 13th floor this week?
Yeah.
It's not like you bring up some shitbag bad guy and spits him out on the 13th floor. It's like, right, what monsters and meanies and demons and things are we going to see this week? What's the environment going to be like? What's going to be the comeuppance? And it was kind of an ironic comeuppance, It's
I would love to see a TV series adaptation of that.
It'd probably be very, very much like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
But it would have a very narrow focus because it would all be about retribution. Because the people who go to the 13th floor deserve to be punished.
Yeah, it would work.
So it's always the same principle. But
it would work now. I mean, we talk about...
Yeah, I think so.
Part of the human race right now is enjoying watching people getting shit on, right? Our society. Yeah. So why not? Absolutely. People would love watching someone getting shit on.
Well, that's how the book starts. The young lad who's getting bullied, it's by 3 guys who are trying to catch him so they can beat him up and film it and put it on TikTok.
Yeah. So
or whatever fictional social media.
I would think this would be an excellent. If I won a shitload of money, I'm gonna fucking buy the rights to the book and I'm fucking gonna make a little TV series out of it.
Oh, you could easily get at least 1 season out of this. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but just about 10 or 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Just some, nice creative sort of, low budget.
Make it on YouTube.
Horror.
Do it locally, low budget, put it on YouTube, and then when someone comes along and says, I want to buy the idea, give me a fuckload of money, bitch.
Look for Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Give me a fuckload of money. So, okay. So, Scott.
This is kind of this series, DC versus Vampires, World War V. I think it's one of the best kept secrets in the comic world right now. I've said before, when they write series, if they're going to tell a big story, it needs to be 12 issues long. And the first series was 12 issues long. Writer Matthew Rosenberg, he can build worlds so well. And this is the second series, and I'm on it's up to issue 4. And this is what every series of this magnitude needs to be. And to contrast it against, Marvel did Blood Hunt earlier in the year. It was 5 issues and a shitload of tie-ins that basically, you realize very quickly that it was just a throwaway series that they wanted to put new artists and new writers on these tie-in issues to make sure you read them. I realized that as I was reading, I'm thinking there's no real reason to this. But this series is fantastic. There's not a lot of tie-ins. It's just a self-contained 12-issue series. Sort of like the Marvel's Ultimates, where did you guys, either of you read Ultimates?
No, not the original ones.
Yeah. No. Well, it was like characters died, and they didn't come back, and that was okay because it was an alternative universe. It's almost a what if, but much more fleshed out. And the same thing has happened in this series. It's the writing is good and the art is good, and the artist escapes me. It's Otto Schmidt is the artist, and again, great renditions of the characters. A bunch of different. It's like a very Game of Thrones feel to it, where there's a bunch of different storylines taking place at different times, and they come together. Well, Matthew Rosenberg really knows how to. I believe it's under the Elseworlds. Yeah, it's under the Elseworlds imprint, so it's outside of the outside of the regular universe. But I've enjoyed every issue I've gotten, and it just keeps getting better. I mean, in this last issue, Alfred got the Green Lantern ring, which was just
cool.
Fantastic writing. And a lot of people, like, I don't read a ton of DC, but a lot of people were like, wow, this is brilliant. They should have given it to him years ago, the way they're making the character and how they're constructing him. Mm-hmm. But it's been really good. And I don't read a lot of DC, but I saw this, and I got the first issue of the first series, and I'm just hooked on it. I hope they have many more to come. And I hope Rosenberg writes him. I first saw him on Daredevil about, I'd say, 8 years ago now, and he's just a fantastic writer. Wolverine number 3, guy named Saladin Ahmad. He's also writing Daredevil, and he's just, again, a fantastic writer. And I mentioned before when they did what was that thing they did with the X-Men? Age of Krakoa. When they did the Age of Krakoa, they had too many characters. They didn't give them enough storyline development. They didn't flesh the characters out enough. So by the end of it, you were like, yeah. And they're not doing that with Saladin's not doing that with Daredevil or Wolverine. And Wolverine, the first 3 issues, he's been in the Northwest Territories, and it feels like he's in the backyard because he's literally in the backyard, for us anyway. And it's had Wolverine and Wendigo. A fantastic classic pairing with a twist, because this time the Wendigo's a 15-year-old boy, and he's fighting back against it, and they're fleshing that character out like I've never seen it before. Usually Wendigo was the muscle, and then they'll end up with the Hulk and the Wolverine. They'll try and recapture that classic, Hulk 181, 180 appearance, but they're doing more with it this time. And it's all written from the point of view of Wolverine, and he did the same thing in Daredevil, where he takes this character this character that I've known for years, and he gives an original take on it, but he doesn't go too far out of what the character is. And there's a storyline, a secondary storyline that you folks talked about earlier with the Westerns, where there's a simmering storyline concerning antimanium that's kind of taking place in the last few pages of every issue, and you see what they're building to. And he's quickly becoming one of my favorite writers to read each month, just for the simple fact he doesn't have a ton of characters. He fleshes out the characters he does have, great character interaction, and good inner monologue. And the art, Italians and South Americans are fantastic artists. I don't care who they're writing. I don't care who they're drawing for. Their art is always fantastic. This gentleman's last name is Cocello. He's Italian, and his renditions of Wolverine, and like, just amazing, just very, very well done. And so if you're looking to pick up Wolverine or get back into Wolverine, this series is three deep. It's a good place to start.
3 inches deep.
3 inches deep. Yep. But I love the fact of the Northwest Territories. Like when I was reading it actually this morning, and before I actually read it just before like 2 hours when I woke up at 6, and I'm looking outside and I'm seeing the snow falling, and I'm reading this book with snow in it, and it was just a connection there that was fantastic.
Yeah, snow, yucky. Okay, so you got another one you want to hit up, and then we'll go on to news.
I don't have a comic. I got a podcast. Is that okay?
Okay, you just did 2 books, right?
I did 2 books, yeah.
Okay, we'll leave the podcast for the next show.
Okay, fair enough.
So now we're gonna get into the news part, and I'm sure Paul and I will agree with me. We're very thankful that Scott does a whole lot of digging into some news and stuff for us.
Dicking down?
Dicking
down?
I made a small effort to look for some news earlier. And you go on the internet and you find some headlines and you click on the headlines and you try to find the content and it's just lost in a load of advertisements and just padding and bullshit. I just thought, oh, fuck this.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same way, man. No. So
you guys are going to the wrong sites. I know what you're talking about, though.
Clearly.
I have a bunch of bookmark ones on Feedly and something that I wrote up here. Actually, I want to start with this one if you don't mind. Okay.
Sure.
Because I gotta. So I'm flipping through the Feedly and trying to find some stuff, and this one comes up that Popeye, the Sailor Man, is coming for public domain. And it looks like you guys already know about this, is that they've decided that they've already got a movie in the can, ready to go.
Psychopaths.
And it's ITN Studios have a raunchy horror film called Popeye the Sailor Man. Not sailor as in the ocean, but Slayer.
Slayer Man.
Yep. That's it. Yeah.
Groups of friends that go to an abandoned spinach canning factory to film a documentary of a legend of a sailor man who is said to haunt the fat and local docks. Okay, so but also the same company is starting this. I think it's the same company or another company, but there's also a series of Pooh-verse Monsters Assembled.
Yep.
In which
skull fucking my childhood. Yep.
Featuring Pooh, Bambi, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, and other characters from Twisted Childhood Universe.
Yep.
And Pooh, the first one they did, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, it made $7.7 million on 100,000.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet it was a very low budget. Yeah,
but just as Scott said, skull fucking our childhood. This is
where we're at.
That's what I mean. I've always been saying this. You guys probably get tired of it. This is why I just go. This is we can't do anything creative, and if we're gonna update it, we got to make sure it's violent and
gore porn
and stuff like that. We can't take Winnie the Pooh and do something else to make it a different Winnie the Pooh story, a childhood story. No, let's take it and let's pervert it so we can make some money on it. And I just find it really sad. This always remains what a waste the human race is. We could be so much better. We could be so much better, but we choose not to be. And or
instead we'll oh, go on.
No, it's just there's very few of us that I think want to see the world better, and there's more that want to see it burn. Yeah. And those are the ones running the world right now. So I just saw this and I just shook my head. There's another. What does it say? Shiver Me Timbers, which also on sale by AFM, a comedy horror with Olive Oil and her brother Castor and her friends going on a camping trip. Meteor showers, Haley Comet, but the night turns to horror and transforms Popeye into an unstoppable killing machine. That's a different movie coming out. So I just, fuck me. It's just, that's it. I'll leave it at that. I've got another small one. I've got really two. Oh, you know what? I'll do this one. This is more to do with, I thought this interesting simply because it said top 10 British post-apocalyptic, fuck me. You know what I'm saying?
Post-apocalyptic.
That's the word. Yeah. Movies and series. So I just wrote down real quick. Day of the Triffids.
Never heard of it.
No, I have heard of it. Paul, you may have watched it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But look, are you talking about the 80s TV show?
Well, it just says top 10.
Okay, yeah, because there was one.
I think
it was early 80s, mid 80s, maybe TV show. Yeah, I was very scared of Triffids when I was younger. Ridiculous now, but very scared.
Yeah. Doomsday. I just wrote down the titles. Pandorium. If these click your memory, let me know.
You said Pandorium, did you say?
Pandorium, yeah, PAN.
I think I've heard of Doomsday as well. Yeah.
Dead Set. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, is that the one with? Is that the one that's on the Big Brother TV show? And it turns into a zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
Outside the Big Brother. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one Dread 3D. Is that?
I've seen Dread, but
3D doesn't ring a bell.
I didn't realize they'd done it in 3D. They may have, but yeah, I did watch Dread. That's with Carl Urban, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the one with Carl Urban's the best one.
Yeah. Yeah,
not,
it's really
not
good.
the sly one. Yeah.
Oh God, no.
Outcasts. No, I heard this is a radio drama, but it might have been a TV series. Now this one we all know, Shaun of the Dead.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Monsters. These are just titles, I don't even. Mutant Chronicles. Does that ring?
That rings a bell, but I've never seen it.
This one I have on my list to watch. It's called The Girls with All the Gifts. The Girl with All the Gifts.
Yeah. I've seen that.
That one. Is it good?
Yeah, it is good actually. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think of the name of the. Is it Sandra Bullock or somebody like that?
No, I know. I know who it is. I picture her face too.
Yeah,
it's not Sandra Bullock.
It's not. No, it's somebody like that. I think there's like one famous person in it.
Yeah.
Oh, at the time it was made, I think there's only one famous person in it. Female lead. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, it is good. Yeah, it is good. Yeah. It's. I think it's kind of loosely about a zombie plague type thing, which they're trying to either subdue or cure. And there's a girl who has it. But it's been suppressed, and I think eventually at the back end of the show, I think chaos starts to break out, and it's just like,
okay.
Fuck it.
The other one here. The other one, the last one, but this is the second to last. It's The Survivalist. I don't know that one. And then finally, 28 Days Later.
I was gonna say, I hope that's on that list.
Yeah. That's an absolute classic.
Yeah. So, that's just as took to. I have other news, but I'll save it to later because I know the real newsman is here, and we'll do a few, and then we'll take a break. We'll do a few here.
Just a few comments on that Popeye the Slayer, man. There's a movie called The Terrifier. Mm-hmm. It was made for $2 million, and it's closing in on $90 million. So
90.
That's not going away.
No. Oh no!
It's funny. I look at gore the same way I look at porn. There are porn parodies of all the superhero
Not with your dick
ones.
in your hand, I hope.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
But there are porn parodies of all the superhero stuff. There is no porn parodies that I'm aware of Popeye or Winnie the Pooh. They just leave that shit alone.
Mm-hmm.
Porn leaves that stuff alone because there's a sacredness to it. But you're going to see that. And when I saw that Terrifier making as much, I guarantee you everything over the next 100 years, as Wonder Woman comes up, as Superman comes up, for public domain, well, you've already seen Afterburn, but you're going to see horror films made of everything that comes up. And there's a lot of stuff in different genres coming up. Is it 100 years that it goes into public domain?
It's
70, 75, something like that.
I was thinking there too. Yeah,
you're going to see horror films of items you've never seen before in your life because it's a shock value. Part of it's just a shock value. And when you were talking about the 13th Floor, that book you were just talking about, and Little Psychopath, these are the kids. And they can't get enough of it. They're just so desensitized, and they're not really connected to it. There's not a lot of kids that are in their 20s now that are connected to Popeye or even know who it is. Same with Winnie the Pooh. They used to do it. It's not like it's a new thing. They used to have Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is a movie about killer Santa Claus. So it's not new. It is new that all these different characters are becoming available to do it with. So, but yeah, it's fucked up. But it'll make money. I guarantee you it'll make money just for the fact it's cheap to make. It's like porn. It's cheap to make, and everyone's going to want it. And a certain segment are going to want to see it over and over. So that's where we're at with that. So, where am I here? James Gunn is confirming that he has plans for Deathstroke in the DCU. I'm just hoping it's the same Deathstroke that they teased in the Justice League movies, which is Joe Magnolia. I'm going to butcher his name.
I know what you mean.
Joe M. We'll call him.
Yeah.
I hope it's him. Because I remember when they did that scene at the end of I think Justice League with him and Lex Luthor. I remember thinking to myself, God, he looks perfect as Deathstroke. So I hope they're going to continue to go with that actor in that role. I hope they do anyway. I don't know how they're going to explain it away with it basically being a new universe, but I think it was an underused character. He was in Titans. I like the actor who played him in Titans. The same guy who played in Spartacus, actually, whose name is. He was actually in Arrow also. The actor I'm speaking about?
Yeah. Manu Bennett, I think he was called.
Yeah, Manu Bennett. He was great as Deathstroke, but I hope they go with a good actor, and I hope they flesh the character a lot more than they actually did in the movies and that TV series.
So just a quick update. Yeah, Paul, you're right. 70 years for the moment it's created.
Sounded right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Scott.
Dan Aykroyd doubts he'll be returning to any future Ghostbusters films. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did. I forgot to mention it. Yeah, I forgot to bring that up.
Well,
I did.
We'll save that. We'll save that for the next show and just kind of focus on this. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd, he thinks that it's time that they're going to move on. I suspect it's because they're not able to pay him the money he wants, and that's because there's diminishing returns on each film, which we'll talk about, but it makes sense. But yeah, I don't think he'll be back, and I don't think I'm glad they're realizing it, because there's something about them staying on too long, but I think it's more he's realizing we're making fucking duds, and I don't want to be part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he says that he doubts he'll be in any of them.
Yeah, I'd blanked that from out of my mind until you mentioned it just then. I thought, oh my God, I saw that film. We could save that for next episode, though.
Okay.
So yeah, right. That's it for news for this episode.
Okay, that's good. A good way to end it. So, So yeah, folks, we're gonna break up here. For us, it's gonna be a few minutes, and for you, it's gonna be when I put it up, the next one after this one. So we do 2 shows at a time, just to give you a heads up. Next show is basically going to be a free-for-all in a way, because
Battle Royale.
Yeah, because we're doing this right after. We wanted to give you at least some current information about stuff that was out right now. But the second show, because we'll just go with stuff that we have, and hopefully maybe some of you haven't heard. So until we hear you again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for anybody who's downloading the show. Really, we're one of the few shows that do this just mostly because we want to talk together. I think we send it out. Hopefully you want to enjoy it. Our numbers are not that great. Scott says we do well on other platforms and stuff. I have no idea. I just follow the one. But I do appreciate you taking the time to listen to this show and also listen to the downloads or the podcast of the old radio shows. Until we guys talk to you again, it's ciao from me, ciao from Paul, and ciao from Tits McGee.
All right. McGee, yeah.
Okay, and then.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.
That's all, folks.
Thank you. Come again.
Why you little?
I'll have to stop this in a bit, but we'll be back. I'm gonna go make a coffee, do whatever I need, take a piece.
I gotta take a piss break.
That's what I mean. Take a piss break.
Me too. I'll try not to let it develop into another massive change.
I gotta cut that out and put it right at the end. All right.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll see you in 2 minutes.
Mm.